Did anyone have that one cocky cousin who would irritate you for no reason? I'm Arjun, 13, living in Edison, New Jersey, where strip malls and samosa shops fight for space. My life's pretty normal: school, video games, helping mom at our family's grocery store, Patel's Fresh Mart. We're Indian American, so our house smells like cumin and sounds like Bollywood mixed with hip-hop. I've got two cousins, Priya, 14, and Anika, 10, who moved in with us last spring after their dad, Uncle Vikram, passed away. That's when things got messy. Priya's always been a princess. She's tall, with perfect hair and a phone glued to her hand, always posting TikToks in sparkly outfits. Back when they lived in Princeton, she'd brag about her designer bags, bought by Uncle Vikram, who owned a tech startup. He spoiled her rotten new phone every year, private dance lessons, you name it. Anika's no better. She's a tiny tornado with pigtails, used to getting her way with a pout or a scream. Uncle Vikram never said no, so they grew up thinking the world owed them. When I was younger, Priya demanded I call her Didi, big sister, in Hindi since she's a year older. I refused. She's 1 year older, not my boss. We're cousins, not siblings, and I wasn't bowing to her ego. At family dinners, she'd huff, "Call me Didi, Arjun," and I'd just say, "Pass the naan, Priya." She'd roll her eyes, but it was no big deal until she got mean. For a year and a half, she was a total jerk. She'd accidentally spill juice on my backpack, hide my PS5 controller, or mock my sneakers, calling them bargain bin kicks. Mom said to ignore her, but it stung. Then Anika, hearing Priya's complaints, decided she wouldn't call me by a big brother. At 10, she was a spoiled brat, worse than Priya. She'd throw tantrums if she didn't get extra dessert, and when I refused to let her play Fortnite on my console, she'd hit me hard, little fists smacking my arm, leaving bruises. "You're not my baya," she'd yell, stomping off. Mom and Dad tried to discipline her, but she'd cry for her dad, and they'd back off. I got it. Uncle Vikram's death hit them hard, but I was tired of being their punching bag. Uncle Vikram's heart attack was sudden. One day he was grilling tandoori chicken at a family barbecue, the next he was gone. Aunt Mira, their mom, couldn't afford their fancy house alone, so they moved into our cramped split level. Priya took my game room, turning it into her studio with fairy lights and mirrors. Anika got half my sister's room, her toys everywhere. I was stuck sharing a bathroom with them, finding glittery makeup and wet towels all over. They acted like they owned the place, demanding Mom cook their favorite paneer tikka while ignoring chores. I tried to be patient. Dad said, "They're grieving, Arjun. Give them time." But Priya's snark and Anika's punches made it tough. I started plotting, not to hurt them, that's not me, but to knock them down a peg. Our school's spring talent show was coming up, a big deal in Edison. Priya was obsessed with winning, practicing her Bollywood dance routine nonstop, bragging she'd slay. Anika wanted to do a skit, roping in classmates to play her minions. If I could mess with their acts, just enough to humble them, maybe they'd chill out. My plan started with Priya. She was using a USB drive for her dance music, a custom mix she'd spent weeks perfecting. I knew she left it in the school computer lab sometimes, too busy preening to log out. If I could swap her track for something embarrassing like a goofy kid's song, it'd throw her off on stage. For Anika, it was trickier. She was rehearsing a comedy skit about a princess bossing everyone around. Ironic, right? I heard her group complaining she was too bossy. If I could nudge them to tweak the skit, make it a parody of her, she'd get a taste of her own medicine. I had a month. After school, I'd hang out in the computer lab, pretending to work on homework. Priya's USB was always in her backpack, but she'd leave it unattended during dance practice. I borrowed it one day, copied her file, and swapped it with a track of Baby Shark remixed with Bollywood beats, cringe but harmless. For Anika, I befriended her skit partner, Mia, slipping her the idea to add lines mocking a spoiled princess. Mia, fed up with Anika's tantrums, loved it. The Clash of Cousins, Part 2. The Edison Middle School talent show was a circus gym packed with parents, kids waving glow sticks, and a fog machine that smelled like burnt popcorn. I sat in the back, hoodie up, heart racing like I chugged a Red Bull. Priya was up first, striding in a glittery lehenga, ready to dazzle with her Bollywood routine. Anika's skit was later, her crew in cheap crowns, her the star. My plan was in motion, and I could almost hear Brian's voice in my head, gravelly, calm, like I was pulling off a heist. Stay cool, Arjun. Priya took the stage, lights dimming. The music started, her hips swaying to a sitar riff, then bam. Baby Shark kicked in, Bollywood style. All doo-doo-doo and cheesy beats. The crowd gasped, then laughed. Priya froze, her face a mix of shock and rage, but she powered through, trying to dance. It was a train wreck. Her elegant moves clashed with the kiddie tune, kids in the front row giggling. She stormed off mid-song, glaring at the tech booth. I kept my head down, biting my lip to hide a smirk. Anika's skit was next. She pranced on as the princess, expecting applause. But Mia and the crew had taken my nudge and run with it. Their lines were savage. "Oh, Princess Anika, stop hitting us for your crown. And why do you always get the biggest candy?" The crowd roared, thinking it was comedy gold, but Anika's smile faded. She realized they were mocking her. She flubbed her lines, tripped on her cape, and ran off stage, tears in her eyes. I felt a pang. Had I gone too far? Back home, chaos erupted. Priya stormed into my room, yelling, "You did this, Arjun. You ruined my dance." Anika was sobbing to Mom, saying I'd made her a joke. I played dumb, but Mom's glare said she wasn't buying it. "Family doesn't hurt family," she said, grounding me for a week. I didn't confess, but guilt gnawed at me. Uncle Vikram's death was still raw for them, and I'd hit them where it hurt. The next day, something shifted. Priya came to me, no phone, no attitude. "Why do you hate me, Arjun?" she asked, voice small. I fessed up, not about the sabotage, but about her meanness. "You act like you're better than me," I said. She looked away, then admitted she'd been mad about moving in, losing her old life. Anika overheard and, for once, didn't hit me. She mumbled, "Sorry for being a brat." Turns out, they both felt lost without their dad. We made a deal. No Didi, no Baya, just cousins trying to get along. Priya started helping at the store, even laughing at my bad jokes. Anika stopped punching, swapping tantrums for board games with me. Mom noticed, easing up on my grounding. I never told them about the talent show, but I think they knew. Sometimes, at night, I'd hear Brian's voice, steady and warm. "You fixed it, Arjun." Maybe I did. We're not perfect, but we're family, and that's enough. The sperm donors of Reddit, has there been any incident which you hope never happens again? I'm Ethan Caldwell, 42, a landscaper in Lancaster, Ohio, a sleepy town where the biggest drama is usually a bad corn harvest. My life's simple. I mow lawns, plant shrubs, live in a brick ranch house with my rescue mutt, Boomer, and drink coffee strong enough to wake the dead. Never married, no kids by choice. But 15 years ago, I did something most folks don't talk about at the VFW. I donated sperm. Needed cash after my truck broke down, and the clinic paid $500 a pop. I figured it was a one-and-done deal, help some couple, pocket the money, move on. They said it was anonymous. Guess I should have read the fine print. Lancaster's the kind of place where everyone knows your business, so I kept the donation quiet. Life rolled on, mowing, mulching, repeat until last summer, when a woman showed up at my door, shaking like a leaf in a storm. Her name was Laura Hensley, 38, with tired eyes and a kid clutching her hand, a boy, maybe 6, with dark hair and my nose. Yeah, my nose, my stomach dropped. Laura was a mess, hair tangled, voice shrill. "You're the father," she shouted, jabbing a finger at me. "You need to take him." The kid, Owen, stared at the ground, clutching a toy truck. I stood there, dumbstruck, Boomer barking like we were under attack. "Lady, I don't know you," I said, trying to keep calm. She thrust papers at me, clinic records, somehow dug up, listing me as donor number 472. She'd used my sperm because her husband, Greg, couldn't get her pregnant. They'd had Owen, but Greg divorced her last year, refusing custody. "He's not mine," Greg told her, and walked out. Now Laura was unraveling, demanding I step up. I tried reasoning. I'm just a donor. I didn't sign up for this, but Laura wasn't hearing it. She ranted about Greg's betrayal, how she'd lost her job at the diner, how Owen needed a dad. Her eyes were wild, words tumbling out like she hadn't slept in weeks. Owen just hugged his truck, silent. I felt for her, but I wasn't ready to play daddy to a kid I didn't know. I shut the door, heart pounding, and called the clinic. They swore my info was confidential, but a data breach last year had leaked donor IDs. Great. Laura didn't stop. She came back daily, banging on my door, leaving notes, "Take your son." Neighbors started whispering old Mrs. Jenkins across. Laura spiraled, lost her job, her savings, her grip. Friends said she'd always been high-strung, but the divorce broke her. She'd scream at strangers, convinced everyone was against her. I needed a plan. Laura wasn't stable, and Owen deserved better than being dragged through her chaos. I couldn't take him. I wasn't dad material, but I could try to get her help. I started documenting her visits, recording her rants on my phone, keeping her notes. If I could prove she was a danger to Owen, maybe social services could step in. It felt cold, but I was out of my depth. The breaking point, part 2. By August, Laura was a hurricane. She'd park outside my house, blasting her horn, screaming I was a deadbeat. Owen would sit in the back seat, drawing on foggy windows, looking smaller every day. I'd hear Brian's voice in my headcom, gravelly, like I was narrating my own mess. "Stay steady, Ethan." But I was losing it. My clients were dropping me. Nobody wants a landscaper with a crazy lady picketing his lawn. I had to act. One night, Laura showed up at 2 a.m., pounding my door, yelling, "Owen's your blood." I called the cops, hands shaking. When they arrived, she was on my porch, sobbing, Owen asleep in her car. I showed them my recordings, weeks of her rants, notes, even a video of her throwing a rock at my mailbox. The officer, a guy I knew from high school, looked grim. "She's not right, Ethan." They took her for a psych eval, and Owen went to a foster home temporarily. I felt like garbage, but what else could I do? The next week, I met with a social worker, Ms. Carter, at the county office. She had Laura's file, diagnosed with severe anxiety and delusional disorder, triggered by the divorce. Greg's rejection, calling Owen not his, shattered her. She'd fixated on me as the father to fix her broken world. Laura was admitted to a mental health clinic in Dayton, court-ordered for 90 days. Owen was placed with a foster family, a nice couple in town. Ms. Carter asked if I'd consider custody. I froze. "I'm just the donor," I said, but her look said she'd heard that before. I visited Owen once at the foster home. He was quiet, playing with that same toy truck. "You my dad?" he asked, not looking up. My throat tightened. He had my nose, my mom's eyes. I mumbled something about helping him find a good home, but it felt weak. I wasn't ready to be a dad, but I couldn't unsee him. Laura's clinic sent updates. She was stabilizing on meds, but her future was shaky. No job, no family nearby. Greg was long gone, remarried in Columbus. I started a fund at the VFW, collecting a few grand for Owen's care, telling folks it was for a local kid. Lancaster rallied. Mrs. Jenkins even baked cookies for the foster family. I didn't take custody, but I met with Ms. Carter to ensure Owen stayed with the Fosters, who wanted to adopt. I signed papers waiving any paternal rights, making it official. Months later, Laura wrote me from the clinic, a shaky letter. "I'm sorry, Ethan. I lost myself." I didn't write back to Raw, but I kept it. "Owen's doing okay, I hear. He's in school, like soccer." I mow the foster family's lawn for free, tell myself it's enough. Sometimes, at night, with Boomer snoring, I hear Brian's voice, steady and warm. "You did what you could, Ethan." Maybe. But I still see that kid's face, and I wonder if I'll ever feel free.